So, hello and welcome to another edition of the Bloody Fang-Tastic Show. I'm your host, Lark the Vampire, and, well, basically I give you a triple helping, a review, facts and mythology on a vampire movie. Yes, that is the name of the show. We're a vampire show. So, what am I going to do this week? Well, what vampire movie? Well, I thought, we've had two Dracula movies done in two previous episodes back to back. Why don't we make it a hat trick and review and go over Dracula 2000? Let's go with the review first, as always. So, Dracula 2000. So obviously based on the character of Dracula by Bram Stoker, and it's directed by Patrick Lussier, and the screenplay written by Joel Sasson, and it stars Johnny Lee Miller, Justin Webdell, Gerard Butler as Dracula, Colleen Ann Fitzpatrick, Jennifer Espoto, Danny Masterson, Jeff Ryan, Mokin Linkley or something, Monroe, Sean Patrick Thomas, Omar Apps, and the late great Christopher Plummer. So, this takes place in the year 2000. This film is, it came out in, the very end of 2000. If it was a month later, it would have to be Dracula 2001. Anyway, yes, Dracula 2000. So, in this, we know the story of Dracula. Well, we then jump to the present day, where Dracula is seen as just a story. And that, Van Helsing, played by Christopher Plummer, is keeping him locked away in a vault till some employer turns against him and decides to pull off a heist. And they think, what's down in this vault of his? Is it gold? Is it treasure? They find a coffin and they're unaware that they've just woken up a great evil. And basically, when they head back to America, Dracula, wakes up, feeds and regenerates and hijacks the plane, and basically goes on to, in New Orleans, he has a blood connection to Van Helsing's daughter, called, is it Ava Van Helsing? Let's have a look. Mary Heller, or Mary Van Helsing, played by Justine Weberdell. And Dracula wants to turn her, as she has his blood running in her veins, as we find out in an incident a long time ago when Van Helsing imprisoned Dracula. They were wounded and both exchanged their blood, so they had a connection, and Van Helsing has been using the blood of Dracula to sustain and prolong his life. And basically he has to stop Dracula before he gets to his daughter. But we have a protege of his, played by Johnny Lee Miller, called Simon Shepherd, who helps and gets in on the action and knows all, and basically ends up fighting Dracula. And in the end, Mary and Simon become a fighting duo against evil forces. We also find out that Dracula was actually Judas in this version, and not just Vlad the Impaler, but how he became a vampire was from his betrayal of Jesus when he was Judas. Different mythology. Of course, it's all public domain. You can do pretty much what you want with the character of Dracula now. So, that's the story. What did I like about this film? Well, I like that this was probably one of the first films to, be part of, to go in, first films to feature Dracula to enter the 21st century. This film is over 20 years old now, and we, still have Dracula told. 100 years after his creation, he's still getting told this to this day and retold in different versions and different takes. And this was probably the first time Dracula was in the year of the 21st century, 2000. This film came out in December, so it still came out in 2000. I thought it would have come out a lot earlier, but there you go. We'll probably find that out in the facts about maybe its release or something, I don't know. But this is a very good film. Has definitely stood well, and probably, it's definitely got that 90s, feel. Given that it came out at the turn of the century, it had that 90s cinematography, horror, emo sort of punk rock goth vibe, which I do like from these kind of films. I thought Gerard Butler was, brilliant as Dracula. Yeah, I would never have thought to cast him as Dracula. But I think it worked. He surprisingly delivered. He was a bit of eye candy, a bit of a hunk for the ladies, I guess, and the gay men and stuff. Basically, he was just eye candy for whoever finds that kind of stuff attractive. And he, probably, was it one of his early movie roles? I don't know, but still, he, got a lead role in this as Dracula, and he was a very good Dracula, I got to say, with the whole Romanian accent, but not the full Bela Lugosi look. He still brought his own take and own image to the character of Dracula. So yes, Dracula 2000, and I like Johnny Lee Miller and Mary Van Helsing. Christopher Plummer did a good job too, playing Van Helsing, and we got to see just some drama in there and some action. We even got some brides in there that Dracula made throughout the film, and they all meet their demises, as well as Dracula. Of course, Dracula at this point does hate God. So anyway, what am I going to rate? Do I have anything to dislike? Maybe the fact that our heist people had no idea what they were unleashing and they were making a dumb decision, but we wouldn't have got the events of the film otherwise. So this is an interest. Well, it's a good one. The effects I feel have aged well and stuff, so yeah, I do recommend it for Dracula lovers. So, what am I going to rate this one? I think I will give Dracula 2000... I'll give it 4 fangs out of 5. 4 fangs out of 5 for Dracula 2000. So, let us go into our next portion of the show. Let's go with the mythos, shall we? Yeah, the mythology. So, stay tuned for that. So, the mythology in this, or the take they go with the vampire on this one, is pretty basic. The usual fangs, the whole red eyes, the whole feeding on blood, having no reflections, not even on the cameras, these kinds. And also, of course, the usual conversion and transforming humans into vampires, with the shape-shifting into bats and a wolf, which we do see in the film. And, of course, the weakness of sunlight, as always. Also, with a vampire in this, or at least Dracula, when malnourished, ages rapidly and, well, needs the blood to retain his youth, which we see in the film. At the 1 hour mark, the line in the film where Johnny Lee Miller is playing Simon Shepherd says, "Never, ever fuck with an antiques dealer," was a line the actor would say on set as a joke. The director liked it and incorporated it into the scene. Dracula says, "I don't drink coffee" in one scene of the film. This is a spoof of "I never drink wine," which was said by Bela Lugosi's Dracula in the 1931 film. Around the 37-minute mark, where Lucy, played by singer Vitamin C, is talking to Mary in the record store, she is standing right in front of a shelf that has her CD on it. The name of Van Helsing's antique store, Carfax Abbey, is also the name of a house Dracula moves into in Bram Stoker's book Dracula. Both actors Johnny Lee Miller and Christopher Plummer have both played the Victorian detective Sherlock Holmes in different takes of the character. The typeface used on the screen title is a variation of the same typeface used on the first release of the Dracula novel from 1897. The character Lucy Westerman's name is a reference to the character of Lucy Westerer, let's say that, from Bram Stoker's book Dracula. She is in the movie, as in the book, the best friend of the main character, Mina. In the book, she is Mary, though. Nathan Fillion plays a priest in the movie. He would also go on to play Caleb, an evil priest on the hit show Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Ah, well, there you have it, this month's episode in a nutshell. So, have you seen Dracula 2000? Have you found anything else about it you didn't know? Let me know all down in the comments, and if you like this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up and to share with your friends. I have been Lark the Vampire, and this has been the Bloody Fang-Tastic Show. So until next time, don't have nightmares.